So during retreat, I've been studying one of Maitreya's texts called The Sublime Continuum. And it's about Buddha nature and the three jewels and enlightenment and so forth. And it's full of similes, you know, making so many analogies between different things in the world and the Buddha's activities and Buddha nature and so forth. So I have a simile myself from something that's happening at the Abbey. So you might remember the last 2 weeks we haven't seen much go on at the working site. You know, it was snowing. A lot of the guys weren't here, you know, because they were waiting for the trusses. And so we kept looking out there, and nothing much was happening for about 2 weeks. And then yesterday, the trusses arrived, and in the afternoon, all of a sudden, there's half of a roof, or, well, I mean, not the whole roof, but at least the trusses, and we can get the shape of the building, you know? And today it's continuing, and it's like, oh, this is becoming a building. Wow, so fast. And at the same time, George, the contractor, is saying, calm down, because the next 2 weeks you're not going to see much change. So I began to think that this is very much like our Dharma practice, that we will go for a while and we'll practice and it seems like nothing's happening. And then we'll have like a couple of days and like everything falls into place. We're like, wow, I get it now, and my practice is working. And then again, I don't see much change. And then again, you know, like after this period, after the trusses, we won't see much change. And then the roofers will come, and then all of a sudden there'll be a roof and windows, you know. So we go through these periods of seeing a lot of change and not seeing much change. But the thing is, and so we go up and down and up and down and up and down because we only look at what we're seeing right now at the present moment. We're not understanding causes and conditions, because although for the last 2 weeks we haven't seen much happening, there's been a lot going on, because designing these trusses, I mean, if you look at those things, my goodness, my high school geometry teacher would be so proud, you know? Because to understand how you build those things, and the roof is so complicated, and getting all the angles correct and the measurements and how these things fit together to form so many different gables on the roof. I mean, this is very complicated. So these 2 weeks where we weren't seeing anything, they were designing these things. Yeah, so there was actually a lot happening, but we didn't see it. And we're so dumb that we don't realize that when we don't see things, it doesn't mean nothing's happening, you know. And then boom, for 2 days we see a lot and we get really happy. Yeah, but all of that happened because of the 2 weeks where nothing much happened. Okay, so it's the same way in our practice. You know, we have to be doing the regular practice and the sessions, you know, and it may seem that nothing's happening, and then things fall into place, you know. But when you think nothing's happening, actually a lot is happening. What you're doing is creating the cause to see some shift, because shifts, you know, don't happen without causes. So we have to spend the time creating the causes. So that's why I keep telling people, don't judge your sessions as good or bad. Just do them, just create the cause. And don't worry about when results come. You know, they'll come when the causes are created. Yeah, and don't get so excited when results come, because you're going to go into another period of creating the causes where you're not going to see sparkles and glitter and zoom and joy and, you know, But don't get discouraged during those times, because those are the times when you're doing your geometry and your sines and cosines to get the angles right so that your trusses come out right. You know, you don't just say, oh, I want trusses, let's get up there with some wood and figure it out. God. Yeah. So similarly in our practice, we have to spend the time understanding things, figuring things out, laying the groundwork. Yeah. And so don't get discouraged during that time, because you're doing the real work then that is, you know, actively transforming your mind. Mm-hmm. Sometimes we think, oh, my mind's happy, that must mean Dharma's good. And then my mind is unhappy, that means Dharma is bad. It doesn't work. Well, imagine if you weren't practicing the Dharma. How many good times would you have then? Well, okay, you know, you could run down to Starbucks for that cup of coffee you can't have at the Abbey. But, you know, what's that going to do for you in the long term?
1 minute of pleasure.
Exactly, 1 minute of pleasure. Yeah. So, you know, the thing is, don't get so hung up about whether we're happy or we're unhappy. You know, our thing is to just keep our long view and, you know, enlightenment for the benefit of sentient beings, and then just keep going there step by step. Yeah, if we get attached to our happiness and discouraged by our unhappiness, that becomes like, you know, in the tortoise and the hare race. You know, you know, oh, I'm happy, hop, 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 hop. Oh, I'm discouraged. Oh, let's go under the hole, under the ground, and hibernate and stay in my hole for a while. You know, so you know, the hare just kind of gets lost in that whole thing. Tortoise just keeps slugging along and gets there. Yeah, with its smooth belly. Okay.